Hey everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Snap Decks of the Week, the weekly series where I showcase the top 10 best decks in Marvel Snap. This week is a really special one. The reason for this is because 3 of the top 10 best decks right now, believe it or not, are coming from brews that I designed over the last couple of weeks. This is super exciting. In the past, I might have had like 1 deck crack the top 10 of my brews, but this week is 3, and it's a momentous occasion for me, and I am just so happy and grateful that the decks that I designed are performing as well as they are for you guys, the community, and those that are catching the first impressions videos and all the testing we do on Twitch TV. So thank you so much for all your support. I'm super excited to showcase the results. So let's dive right in. Now, right off the top here, we do have Hela. That's making a comeback. Lockjaw Hela at number 10. The note here is that it actually is performing amazing because a 55% win rate on a Hela deck is actually incredible. That's extraordinarily high. And it has one of the highest cube rates currently available in Marvel Snap at 35. Now, what I'll tell you is that it's currently 10th because of the win rate. However, it's like probably one of the best decks in the game to play right now. I mean, if you can tolerate the Hela gameplay, then this is one to keep an eye on. And I mean, on the Snapchat, we talked about how Black Cat was an absolute machine of win rate and cubes. And sure enough, it's currently in some of the top decks in the game right now. So do not sleep on Hela. It's legit, and it just might catch your opponents by surprise. Moving on to number 9 is the first of the decks that we created here on this channel, and it is the Grand Accuser. This is utilizing the Grand Master with Ronin to generate the Master Mold kind of master plan of playing Master Mold on 2, and then you get to play Grand Master into the Master Mold and put 4 Sentinels into their hand, which is basically impossible for them to deal with effectively. A really interesting deck. It also has the byline of having the Darkhawk based disruption, and you're going to notice in this meta update that Darkhawk is a core component of the highest performing decks. And of course with Ravonna, you have the Darkhawk, Mystique, and of course the Iron Man synergy as well. Mystique can also be used to capture Ronin value as well, so there's a lot of different variable opportunities to finish out the game on turn 5 and 6. At a 56% win rate, it's one of the best in the game right now, and it also has a 0.21 cube rate, which is fair, not excellent, but simply fair. Overall, a very good deck if you have Grandmaster. And that takes us to number 8, which again is a brew that we designed here on the channel, and it is Grand Bolt at running a 56% win rate and a pretty strong Q rate of 0.24. Overall, it is using Grandmaster once again to generate value for the Darkhawk, and of course, ultimately you want to play Black Bolt on 5 to get a Miracle style turn 6 where you're able to play Darkhawk, Mystique, and you are able to play the Stature for 1 if you have Ravonna on the board. You can attack 3 locations at once, generate a ton of power, and one of my favorite parts about this deck is it really showcased showcased is the word, by the way, Grandmaster's ability to generate value with Ravonna, because what you would do is you'd play Ravonna on 2, and then on 3 you'd play like Rock Slide, right? And then on 4 you would play Grandmaster on top of the Rock Slide, and you'd play Black Widow, right? Or the other way around. You'd play Black Widow first, and then on turn 4, you'd play Grandmaster, put another Widow's Bite into the hand, and then follow up with the 3 cost like a Rock Slide. Tremendous amount of disruption with this deck. There were some curving lines that were just so incredible with this list because you would do incredible amounts of disruption that would simply put your opponent so far back so quickly in the game. And of course, the Black Bolt Stature combination never slept on, a ton of statistics, and then you have the finisher of Doctor Doom if you need that additional reach. Naturally, with a Ravonna list, you have the Iron Man and the Mystique, which always provide a lot of versatility based on how you want to close out the game. Regardless, a very strong performing deck, and that takes us to number 7 here. Number 7 is going to be She-Not, one of the more consistent decks in Snap. She-Not should be no surprise to anybody. This has been near the top for the longest time, and well, you got Leech, right? Leech does the thing that everyone's looking to do, and the most important thing about Leech is it's a very good counter against Blob, which is actually making a bit of a comeback this week. She-Not running a 56% win rate and a 0.27 cube rate, a little stronger than some of the earlier decks, but overall, very good overall. One that you can take to Infinite if you're going on the ladder, and a pretty comparable deck in the Infinity Conquest, right? It tends to favor some tech-centric decks, Infinity Conquest, but She-Not still a fairly strong performer there as well. Kyera having an impact on these archetypes, allowing you to run multiple 1-drops in these decks. Coming in at number 6 is Zabu Ray Bill, the Beta Ray Bill deck that I designed live on Twitch TV for the launch of Beta Ray Bill. The idea stemmed from the conversation I had with Cozy Snap on the Snapchat, where I discussed the idea that, you know what, you probably don't need Lockjaw. The ability to curve effectively with the Asgard-based package of Thor on 3, Beta Ray Bill on 4, Jane Foster on 5, and Odin on 6, alongside, of course, the Stormbreaker and the Mjolnir on 6 for free. I mean, it's just so much power, it's so much versatility. Do you really need Lockjaw? And I mean, lo and behold, you don't. What was amazing about this deck as well is it had an incredibly high win rate and cube rate in the earlier phases of Beta Ray Bill's launch because it matched so favorably against Lockjaw-based shells. Because Korg and Rockslide, they're detrimental to Lockjaw strategies because your Jubilee's pulling rocks, Lockjaw's pulling rocks. It's a terrible, terrible situation to be in as a Lockjaw player, and this deck's just laughing. The core component that I really loved about this deck is, yes, you can do the double proc of the Mjolnir and the Stormbreaker using the Odin on turn 6. However, what I really loved is that, let's say you didn't draw into Odin and you drew into your Stormbreaker or something. Using Zabu, you have the ability to play something like a Miss Marvel and a Shang-Chi on turn 6, while also playing the Mjolnir or the Stormbreaker for free based on your draw. It's tremendous. It's a lot of value, especially if Zabu's on the board. There's a lot of inherent versatility with this deck that gives you answers to many different gameplay situations you might find yourself in. It's been one of my absolute favorite to play, and at a 56% win rate and a very strong 31 cube rate, there's a lot to like about this deck, so I hope you guys have been enjoying it as well. One of my strongest brews that I've created in the past little while. Then we go to Destroy. It's been a meta shaker at a 57% win rate and a 33 cube rate. It's just been good. I mean, did they actually nerf Destroy with this Hulkbuster change? Because it would seem that it curves a hell of a lot better now, and people sent down, they're thinking like, hey, this is not a nerf at all. This is actually pretty damn good, and the statistics support that. I mean, it's still near the top of the game here. It's there's just so much to love about it. I like the inclusion of Arna Mazzola is currently in the top lists right now. Death still being run, of course, but ultimately it's just all about that Deadpool, creating a ton of value, getting an absolutely huge Venom, having the option of doing Arna Mazzola on that Venom if you so wish. But ultimately, you have a null closer, you have a death closer, you have so much you can do with this list. I mean, Destroy Baseline is one of the most effective decks in the game right now, and you're going to see a lot of it because it's one of the absolute highest with regards to meta share as well. We go to Galactus Junk. Now, this is the highest riser of the week. Galactus Junk going to a 57% win rate and a 0.35 cube rate, which is remarkably high for Galactus deck. This is insanely high for Galactus deck. I'm almost worried about showcasing it on this video because we're going to see a lot more Galactus, I'm afraid. But honestly, the deck's performing wonderfully. You just can't say anything negative about it. The Ravonna package works really well. Obviously, you're able to get out the Goblins very early. Alioth is a natural winner with Galactus. Selene works really well on this list with the Goblins, of course. And again, it just comes right down to the Annihilus Sentry and Hood package. Like, it's just too good. It's just so much value with 3 cards. Like, it's impossible to deal with for your opponent because they might have to say like, well, we got to deal with that right location because of that void, and then you can Galactus another location, right? That the element of control is very important from a mind game perspective. So 57% win rate, 35 cube rate, remarkable deck right now. Number 4 in the meta, Galactus Junk. It's absolutely crushing. That takes us to the top 3 here, and Thanos Blob is making a comeback. And the reason why you're seeing this is quite simple. Darkhawk is all over. Darkhawk is all over this top 10. We aren't even done talking about Darkhawk yet. And so when that happens, Blob is a great counter component because Blob naturally blows up much of the cards in the deck. It doesn't blow up the entire deck anymore, but it gets pretty far in for the most part. The advantageous part of that is that at a 33 cube rate and a 58% win rate, it matches very favorably against the Darkhawk decks, which are very popular. Now, the latest version of Thanos is, of course, running Blue Marvel, running Chimera to protect the 6-drops and the 1s, but it's also running Mobius and Mobius, which is pretty interesting. You don't see a lot of that. You know, Mobius and Mobius being added in as a tech piece, and Magneto, a huge 6-drop to disrupt all the Beta Ray Bill, Lockjaw, and of course the Thor play that you're seeing out there as well. They also disrupt Miss Marvel wonderfully. So you're seeing a lot of Thanos Blob, and last week, it was like it was waning off the top 10, but now that Beta Ray Bill's out and the deck is performing better than expected, Thanos Blob's all the way back because it has tech pieces that can really effectively deal with a deck of that type. So Thanos Blob, number 3. We go to number 2 here, and it's no surprise, Annihilus continues to be near the absolute top despite a 1 power nerf that it suffered a few weeks back. it's just a good deck. It's just a good deck. The Shadow King tech gives it an advantageous matchup against the Destroy, which is very, very common in the current meta. The amount of just straight up disruption that it provides is legit. I mean, you gotta love the Black Widow inclusion here. You have the tech of Shang-Chi, which is so incredibly important. Shang-Chi is probably the most important card to include in decks right now. It feels like everyone's trying to go vertical with pretty much everything, and Shang-Chi is a very natural answer to that. And Iron Lad for pretty much a good hit across the board, right? So there's nothing wrong with this deck. I can't say a single bad thing at a 58% win rate, at 0.33% cube rate. It's just a good list. It's a very good high-performing list, and Niles continues to surprise with its ability to put up points in Marvel Snap. That takes us to number 1, and it's Dark Leech. It's Dark Leech here. We have the Darkhawk-based package, which is, again, the reason why the blob-based Thanos shell is on the rise. And it's running Leech because you want to leech that damn blob before it blows up the damn Darkhawk, right? So I really like this deck here. A lot of disruption in the Korg, Black Widow, the Rock Slide, and of course the Shadow King. It's the inclusion of Shadow King in the current meta that is causing a lot of decks to rise. So if you're brewing right now, Shadow King is a fantastic inclusion because of the prevalence of Destroy. It does a great job in actually dealing with Destroy's Venoms and Deadpools and stuff like that. Remarkable card right now. And the win rates across the top end of the decks are showcasing the value of Shadow King specifically as an inclusion. So ultimately, a very strong deck, and you're seeing that disruption package still playing through. Disruption has been a core component of the meta for a little bit now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next Marvel Snap video.